my ladies and gentlemen. Today I just went grocery shopping to make my videos for you, and I just wanted to let you know the best way to go grocery shopping. Here are all my groceries. Look at all these beautiful, beautiful vibrant colors. This is what we're looking for when you go shopping. Never go on the inside of the store. That's my biggest tip for you. I actually ran into an older gentleman at the store and I was letting him know about my project, and it is so important that you just ignore all of the middle aisles. I went in the middle aisle once and it was to grab bread. This bread right here. It's actually better if you get whole wheat bread, but certain shifts aren't ideal for everyone, and I can tell you right now, I hate whole wheat bread, so I do get my regular potato bread. Some things just aren't ideal for you to switch to, and that's fine. The whole point of eating healthier is that it's sustainable for you. So if you don't like whole wheat bread, don't buy whole wheat bread. That's just the gist of it. But everything else, I stayed on the outside of the store, and look at how colorful my palette is. I love it. I love seeing all these beautiful colors. We are going to start out with my dinner options. First thing that I'm going to make, I'm trying to think of the best order to show this to you guys, but I'm going to start with tomato soup and a grilled cheese, because who doesn't love a good tomato soup? Okay, cutting my tomatoes. I'm going to be breaking this down. Super simple for you guys. Hopefully I can give you the most information possible. We're going to start by chopping up all of our veggies. I have a big knife. A big sharp knife is a safe knife. Learned that in a cooking class. That's just what I say. I like to cube these up just so they can get a nice roast, and it'll make it easier in the blender. So I first cut it into quarters and then cut those quarters in half, so I guess eighths. For this tomato soup, to make it a little bit more nutritious, later on we are going to be adding both bone broth and chicken broth. You can do just one, but I recommend doing both because they both have different benefits for you. Also, don't forget to preheat your oven. I just did that now. Alright, I'll look for my baking sheet in a second, but now we're going to do a clove of garlic. I don't like onion, but if you are going to do onion, make sure you're using a yellow onion, not a purple one, because you want a bit of a sweeter taste there. We're going to go ahead and season it. So we don't need to go crazy. Here I have some olive oil. Okay, olive oil. Takes a second to come out. What I just learned. Oh my goodness. Oh, there we go. All right, drizzle up some olive oil all over my tomatoes. Give it a nice little something for the taste to latch onto. Great, beautiful. A little bit of balsamic vinegar. I don't like too much. Let me get these little babies closer, because it's just a little bit to taste. Some salt. Don't go crazy with the salt. Too much sodium is not good for you, but salt just makes the flavor really come through. So we're gonna put a little bit all over. I know it looks like I'm putting a lot, but I'm going very little at a time. So you could always put more, but you cannot take away. And we're gonna stick this in the oven until they start roasting and looking nice and toasty. Okay, I'm gonna go stick this in the oven. All right, there's really nothing special about grilled cheese. Super simple, but I'm going to go over everything just to make sure that you know how easy it is to make something from home. So the key to a good grilled cheese, a nice toasty grilled cheese, is just to have patience. And we are not going to be putting on the heat to max. We're actually going to put on the heat to a good 4 or 3, which is medium low. Now, everyone has their personal preferences to how they like their grilled cheese. Some people like to put mayo to make it nice and toasty. I don't like mayo. If you like mayo, go ahead and try it. Also, for the cheese, it's what you like. I don't like every cheese, as I'm sure most of you don't either. But I like, for grilled cheese, I like to mix Havarti and mozzarella. I'm gonna grab myself 2 slices of bread. I'm gonna put the first slice down. So I'm gonna start toasting it because, again, my heat is low. I'm gonna put my cheese. I think I'll do two of this.
I'll do one of the other. Cheese is actually a great source of protein. You do kind of want to try and stay away from dairy because too much dairy can cause inflammation. But personally, I love cheese. So we'll happily use cheese. And then on my top slice of bread, I will put butter. We want to be conscious because there is a lot of not too great fats on butter, but fats are good. We don't want to avoid those completely. You do want some fats, but a great source of healthy fats are like avocado. That would probably be a better choice if you're looking to up some fats in your diet. And we're going to let that toast. And we're actually going to put a lid on top so we can trap some steam and that cheese gets nice and melted. Great, and we'll let that take a while. If you want a quicker grilled cheese, use an air fryer or like a panini press. I don't have a panini press, so I'm going to just be using my stove. I actually think I like this angle a lot better. We're going to ignore the mess that's behind me, right? Got a lot of things going on, moving at the same time. But I'm actually going to be starting let's start my stuffed shells dish. So I'm gonna go grab my stuffed shells so we can start that on the stove. I just put my water to boil on high. So we want it to boil before we put the pasta in. I'm gonna go grab my shells. Here's my box. I love this brand, but if you're looking to get a little extra protein, there are some other brands that don't make it with flour. I think they use chickpeas and other sources of good lentil protein that you could be using that type of pasta instead. I'm just going to be using my regular pasta that I have at home right now. Actually, let's check on my grilled cheese. She's been on the stove for about 5 minutes, so let's take a little look. Let's see if we've gotten a nice, ooh, that's a nice pretty color. I'm gonna show you guys. Got it to a nice golden color. Now I'm actually going to turn down the stove to a 2, just so we can make sure we can get that cheese nice and cheesy. Perfect. We're gonna leave that on for another 3 minutes. This side is a lot quicker than the other. All right, let me show you grilled cheese is looking like. It's been a couple of minutes. And we can see here that the cheese is nice and melted. All right, our water has about just come to a boil, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm only gonna put 5 shells in. When I eat stuffed shells, I probably eat around 3 to 5, so I'm gonna make 5. If you eat more or less, make that amount. I'm gonna be using chicken breasts. Again, a great source of protein. I have not tried chicken breasts with my stuffed shells, but protein is protein, it's gonna be great. All right, I've just taken my stuffed shells out. I cooked them for around 10 minutes. You want them to be just about cooked all the way through, but a little harder than al dente. So I actually, let me explain. I like to use a bread tin when I'm making a small portion because it fits the best. When you're making like a bigger portion, feel free to use a bigger one and spiral them. But when me and my mom are making like single portions, we'll put them in a bread tin. I have 6 here across because then they fit a little bit nicer and they all get sauced nice. All right, with chicken, you want to pat it dry. We don't want any extra liquid. Right, chicken. Let me actually get you at a better angle. All right, here's my chicken. I want to trim some of this extra fat off. One, because it's unnecessary. It doesn't add anything to the chicken. I've never been excited about fatty chicken. I can't say the same for steak, but fatty chicken is not for me. I'm actually gonna go ahead and use the same pan I already did for my grilled cheese. And I'm going to go ahead, this can be a little bit higher of heat, I'd say about a 6 or a 5, which is medium to high heat, a bit more on the medium side. And I'm going to put some butter. Some people prefer oil when they're cooking with chicken. I'm a butter lover. All right, we're going to wait until the butter comes to a bit of a sizzle, and then we'll go ahead and put our chicken on. All right, my butter has just started sizzling, so I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, perfect, that's the sound you wanna hear. We're also going to be putting heavy cream and cheese on our stuffed shells. I don't have ricotta. Again, ricotta is a great thing to put in your stuffed shells along with ground beef. Ground beef is my top protein choice for ricotta, and it's actually a great source of protein, low in fat, as long as that's the one that you're picking up in the stores. Stores will sometimes try and sell you cheaper ground beef because they'll have more fat in it. I want you to look for the leanest possible ground beef that you can. While my chicken is on here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put garlic powder, onion powder, and a bit of red pepper. Once they start looking white on the side that's still raw, then you can go ahead and flip them. Now that I've got my chicken all in my shells, got my chicken all in my shells now, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of heavy cream at the bottom, and we'll top it off with some cheese. Alright, I know you can't really see it, but here are my nice toasted tomatoes. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put my shells inside. Now this is going to go in until everything's nice and toasty, because nothing else is really left to cook there. Now, for my tomatoes. Here's my blender cup. I'm going to go ahead and just toss the tomatoes in there. I'm actually going to wait for them to cool off for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll toss them in here. They should be nice and toasty by now. The edge is just crisping up and golden, so they're nice and soft. This isn't where all of our chicken broth is going to go. Actually, bone broth. Put the chicken broth in later. But just a splash, just to make it a little bit easier to blend up. Great. And then we'll put some water to fill the rest up. Just a little bit though. Alright, this is about how full my cup is. Alright, here's what my tomato soup looks like. Now we're going to go ahead and put it on a pan to simmer. Tight squeeze. Alright, gonna go on high and we're gonna let it get nice and thick. While that's simmering in there, I'm going to put some bone broth for some extra protein. Some people like to top off their soup with heavy cream. I like to put in the heavy cream from the start just so you can get a nice thick soup. My tomato soup is all done simmering. I like to have a lot of heavy cream in my tomato soup because the taste of tomatoes isn't my favorite. Yep. Just gonna go ahead and pour that into my bowl. Perfect serving size. Then there's my tomato soup, and you're gonna go ahead and eat that with your grilled cheese. And now for my stuffed shells, I put them to broil for the last few minutes, so let's go check on them. All right, my shells are all done. It's very hot, but here's what they look like. Now we are going to make some steak and potatoes. I have my ribeye. Ribeye is my favorite cut of steak, but it is extremely fatty. If you're looking for a leaner cut, I'd go with sirloin. Also a great cut of meat. So the steak is actually the quickest part of this, but we are going to be making potatoes with it. Love potatoes, also one of my favorites. For this, I'm going to be using a wooden chopping board. Here I just have some russet potatoes, and we are actually going to be using the air fryer, because if you've ever cooked potatoes in the oven, they take forever, it feels like. So we're going ahead and just going to grab a few, and then we're going to go wash them. I think I'm only going to grab, let's do 3 potatoes, because I do really like potatoes. Perfect. Now it's up to you whether you want to keep the skin or not. I am going to keep the skin. I'm going to chop them into some bigger chunks. So I want like quarters. However you feel like chopping them, go for it. I don't want to just chop these, like quarter them, because they are bigger potatoes and those are big potato bites. So I'm going to go ahead and chop them until they're a good size there. chunks. They're about these sized. You want them to all kind of be the same size so that they'll cook evenly. So if I pulled like 3 random ones, they're all going to look about the same size. And I'm gonna go ahead and oil and salt them on my chopping board. Watch out for your fingers, please. Okay, here's my oil. Okay. Alright, great. Ooh. Not the best oil dispenser. I'm gonna go ahead and mix that in. Great. Smells great already. Not even cooked. And of course my salt. I don't like to do anything crazy to my potatoes. I know some people are super particular about their potatoes. So if you are, go ahead and put whatever seasonings you like. That will not be me. Alright. Nice hefty hint of salt for the potatoes. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put those in my air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, get an oven works. The air fryer is just quicker. I can't find my tongs, so we're gonna make do. It's alright. We're gonna go ahead and put this on not high, but pretty high heat. I'm gonna go ahead and put my butter in there. Again, it's already been cooking, so you should get, yeah, nice and sizzly. Great. I'm gonna go grab my steak. And again, we're putting this fatty side down first if you're cooking something with fat. I can't find my tongs, but please use tongs. Don't do this. Alright. Great. Beautiful. I'll let that sear and turn down the heat just a little bit. Alright, my last dinner is a salmon. Here is the salmon that I picked up from the store. Alright, this is another one of those super simple seasonings. All I'm going to do is rub some oil on here. We're going to do salt, pepper, and I actually have a salmon rub. I actually am going to do some garlic powder and some paprika. My garlic powder's running low. I gotta be careful, I don't want paprika on me. I almost forgot my lemons. I'm going to squeeze half a lemon over it. Also squeeze some at the end. Right. Okay. Oh, I love the smell of lemons. Right. I'm going to squeeze a lemon over top. Oh, no seeds. No seeds. No seeds. No seeds. Alright, squeeze a lemon over top. Great. Then I'm going to wrap this in tin foil and stick it in the air fryer. Here she is wrapped in tin foil, and we're going to stick it in there. My butter is just sizzling. So I grabbed a couple pieces of asparagus. Oh, we don't need these broken ones. I have about 5 pieces here. I'm going to break off the bottoms. Just like that. Just wherever they snap is where they're meant to snap. Great. And I'm going to, one of those is really short. I'm going to saute those and I'm going to put the lid on so that so they can kind of get steamed up. I'm going to leave those alone for about 5 minutes until they get tender. Alright, let's check on our salmon now while we have our asparagus going. Let's see. Alright, here is my salmon and green beans, and those are all of my dinner options for you. I hope you were able to enjoy and that you're able to make your own nutritious meals. Thank you so much.